So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to talk about like the difference between like showing up for people and overextending yourself in
Mm-hmm.
situations, and like
Mm.
how you feel about that.
I think that I'm just now at the point in life where I'm learning the difference and the balance between the two.
Okay, so what do
And
you think the difference is between the two in your opinion?
this is going to sound a little maybe bad, but I think once you cross the line to overextending yourself is when you begin to do things that you know might not be the best decision for you. And I'm not saying like sacrificing sleep. I'm saying financially, you know, if you do this, you might not be able to pay a bill, but you're people pleasing. And you want to make your friends trip, or you want to, buy your significant other this beautiful gift, but you know you really don't have it. That's overextending. I think anytime you're setting yourself up to be in a place of now you're without, and not putting yourself first, there's a difference between sacrificing because you want to make the other person happy versus just being a people pleaser and just making bad decisions. And I also think for me personally now, I don't do things just because I want to be rewarded or appreciated. However, I've noticed that with me, I've overextended myself plenty of times to people that I know would not do the same for me, and I wouldn't be appreciated. And I'm not saying I need anybody to praise me, but you just being like, oh, thanks, when you know that this is something that I overextended myself for, has begun to piss me off. So I think you can show up for people in many ways. And I think this shows up in everyday life, but mainly in friend groups for sure. Just certain things that I can even use this as an example. You just sat here and told me how Harper's having a graduation on a Wednesday. I'm sitting here thinking, fuck, kindergarten graduation. Would I be able to do it? Sierra, shut up. You can't do it. You get what I'm saying? I feel like in certain situations, certain people, you don't want to miss those big moments.
Right.
But you have to be real with yourself and be like, okay, if I make this decision, how's it going to affect my day-to-day life and those around me? And if I still decide to make that decision, knowing damn well I'm going to come home and be like, fuck, I shouldn't have did that. Why are you doing it? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
Yes.
I think you have to be realistic with yourself. What you think?
No, I think that that's the same thing. But to graduation, it would not make sense for you to come for. It's 30 minutes.
I know.
It's 30 minutes on a Wednesday.
I thought about it.
And you'll see her will be available on Saturday. And she will be 10 minutes away from you for like 3 weeks. So
exactly. Yeah. I already told your mom. I told her, I was like, one of those weekends, let me know, because I'll come get Harper for the weekend. She just looked at me. I was like, I'm just so serious. Like, I live 10 minutes from you now. I'm not in Baltimore anymore. So
I'm like, listen, y'all never have a pool? That's all she needs. She's like, I got my swimming suit. There's a pool in there.
True. I might take her to my sister-in-law's house. They got a pool in the backyard, and all the kids be over there. She would have a blast.
She would have a ball. That would be all she need. Like, listen, she got her stuff. She ready to go. And she could swim.
But yeah.
So she good. But yeah, I think when it comes to like overextending, I think like people think of it kind of like in the sense that you said that overextending is like kind of doing things that's to your own detriment just to kind of get essentially a reward out of it.
Like, that you're probably not going to get.
That you're probably not going to get, because a lot of times, even having done things myself that I've overextended myself, people don't take into consideration all the things that you had to move around in order to make that happen. People don't think about it, don't care about it. So even it's just like that sense of like reward or whatever that you feel like you're going to get from it is not really for real, because people ain't gonna like, nobody is going to say, oh, thank you for not paying your bill to get here.
Thank you for your sacrifice. No, they don't.
Yeah, nobody's gonna say those things. It's just gonna be like, oh, they're not even gonna say thank you for coming. They're just gonna go on about their day. And then the
Right.
person that's upset about the fact that they didn't get a thank you, they didn't get nothing, is you.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that overextending yourself can be in situations as well. Like when people just show up places uninvited, why are you overextending yourself to come to a place that you were not invited to?
Yeah.
Out of under the guise of, oh, I'm supporting, I'm showing love, I'm doing that X, Y, and Z. Why? I never
Mm-hmm.
understand people who want to be a place that they weren't invited to.
Mm-hmm.
No. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Or people who overstay, they're welcome. Like,
Gotta
get
know
out.
when to fold them.
Why are you here? But people, and I think that those are forms of overextension. Why are you putting yourself in these situations that you don't need to be in? As
Mm-hmm.
a former people pleaser, it's exhausting. It's exhausting overextending yourself for other people.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like you said, I'm not overextending myself for somebody that I know is not going to do the same thing for me. Yes, there will
Mm-hmm.
be times where it's just like, okay, I, even myself, for example, I am not a very affectionate person. So I try to, when it comes to like situation and events and things like that, I really try my best to show up for my people to everything that I possibly can. Because for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like I kind of try to put things into perspective. Like, I guess how I love people is not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the same. Like, don't fucking hug me,
Mm-hmm.
but you know I care about you because I showed up to your shit. When
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through, I either had to drive round trip 20 hours to show up to your shit, or I had to put my whole family on a flight, put my dog in a kennel, do all of these different things to show up to things. But it does get to a point, it's gotten to a point for me, it's just like, I've done this shit so much that it's like, it's exhausting. It's like, I don't feel like fucking doing this.
And you
It's
shouldn't.
like, it's like, for
Well.
what? That's just not coming back to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not, I'm not stressing myself out. I'm not fucking doing it. For certain people, I will try to work it out if I
Mm-hmm.
possibly can. And if it's not going to be to my detriment at the end of the day, fine. I'll fucking do it. But all
I
that,
would say
like,
certain people in certain situations. I do feel
yes, it
like
has to be like a big event that, okay, I'm going to
mm-hmm.
try my best to make it to all of these things,
Mm-hmm.
especially for your people who will do the same for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know who those people in your life are, so just do it. But I'm not in the like mindset of anymore that if I don't come to this thing or if I don't show up, then that means I care any less, or like I don't take it as like putting a negative on me if I couldn't show up. Because
Right.
previously, like, that's how I would feel about it. Like, oh, well, I don't want them to be upset that I didn't come, or feel like I don't
Mm-hmm.
care, or their event, whatever they got going on isn't important to me, that I don't support them. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll show up. Even
Yeah.
if it's I've literally showed up for shit that lasted an hour and then had to turn around and go home. And it cost me hundreds of
Mm.
dollars to show
Which
up
is
for an
crazy.
hour.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why are you doing this? If
Mm-hmm.
you know that it doesn't change the status of your friendship for you, why are you going why are you doing this?
Why do you
And
think
that
you've
was
done
another
it?
thing I had to, because I, like I said, like, I know that I'm not like an affectionate person, so I
Mm-hmm.
try to kind of show the people that I love that I actually do care about them, and not just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I know that I
Just
love
by
them.
your presence. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I try to like show up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just I'm just gonna do it. Kind of just like trying to be more conscious about making sure your people know that you fuck with them,
Mm-hmm.
Because I can
Yeah.
be very like, oh shit, I haven't talked to them in 30 fucking days. And it just kind of be like out of sight, out of mind. If I don't think
Mm-hmm.
about it, or if I don't see you, I probably won't talk to you. It doesn't change like the way that I feel about that person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't thought about it. Or it hasn't been like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, call this person.
Yeah.
It just does it just you know,
Or
it
even
just
with
doesn't
me,
happen. It just doesn't
I'll
happen.
think about it, like, oh, I haven't heard from such and such. I'm gonna call them, and then like a couple of days pass, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to call them, or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
for me, the main way that this typically shows up for me is the fact that like a lot of times people will like need something like a service or advice or just different things like that. And I know that, like, okay, I could lend myself to the situation, but what does that mean? Especially when it comes to like extended family members or, friends of friends, things like that. It's like, okay, if I call this person and I know they want to talk about X, Y, and Z, and I talk about that with them, what's going to happen after that? Are they going to now be calling me all the time because I overextended that door? It's like opening Pandora's box sometimes. And I've
Mm-hmm.
learned to just don't even crack certain doors open because the stampede is going to come through. It's like,
Yeah.
why put yourself in that position when you know that as soon as you give a motherfucker an inch, they going to take a football field. So don't do it to yourself,
Yeah.
because I've done that to myself several times and be like, oh, well, I'll just do this thing this one time for free. And then next thing I know, all of a sudden, every time you need something, you calling me, asking me like, oh, well, can you do this? Or can you help me with that? Help? I'm not helping no more.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was something that I kind of had to really learn. It's like and it's also I think what made it more like acceptable for me to be like, okay, you can
Mm-hmm.
literally do this. Cause when I was like, I'm gonna just say no. I'm going on a fucking say no
Mm-hmm.
spree. No to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
No, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. Nope. Can you, nope. Do you want to go? Nope. Don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
Sometimes
a
you have to.
difference. Yes, there are definitely certain times where you have to just be like, no. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
There should be no guilt around saying no for any fucking reason. Sometimes I just
Mm-hmm.
don't want to, and that's okay. If I don't want to, I do not have to. Now, if I promised
Mm-hmm.
or said that I was going to do something and then backing out at the last minute just because I'm just like, I woke
That's
up today and
different.
I don't fucking feel like it, that's different. But
Mm-hmm.
if I'm saying no from the jump, no, it's okay to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
what the thing that was hardest for me is like, I noticed that when I started saying no, people started getting upset. And now I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh,
I have a
okay.
good example of this too.
Like now that I'm saying no and I'm no longer willing to overextend myself, I have made it that this is the standard. And
Mm-hmm.
now you mad that I'm saying no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
I
not
think
gonna work. I'm doing something for you, but you want to have an attitude with me when really there's nothing that you should really be upset about. If I can say that I've shown up for, I've supported, I can give you dates, times, examples of all of
mm-hmm.
these different things, and now one time I'm saying no. Now, now you upset.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up, and it's just more confirmation and proof that okay, you don't need to overextend yourself. This is probably a person that you shouldn't have been overextending yourself for. Because real
Mm-hmm.
people who know and care about you and appreciate the times where you have shown up for them, those things count. And it's like, okay, I'm not mad because usually comes to everything. So if she can't come to this one thing, it's fine. It's not a big deal. You know that the love and
Mm-hmm.
the support is there.
Mm-hmm.
But if
But
it's
I
like the
think
first
for
time
me,
you hear no, and then it's like, oh, now all of a sudden it becomes a huge thing.
mm-hmm.
And it's
Now
like,
I
okay.
will say with myself, I've said no in the past. I have said no, but I didn't stand on that no. And I think people got used to like, oh, she say no, but she probably gonna figure out how to finesse or how to do it or how to help, whatever the case may be. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until honestly motherhood where I started standing on that no, because at the end of the day, I have a lot going on in my life, and the minute that I have an inkling of a second away from my kid, If it's going to inconvenience me, it's not something I want to do. I just cannot. Like, you have to set those boundaries, because it's like, especially being in the toddler phase, I understand how mothers who are not mentally sound or have a good support system truly lose their shit. I get it. So it's like, I have no problem saying, hey, yeah, no, that time's not going to work for me. Like, can we do this instead? No? Okay, well, then I just can't do it. Before, I would go through loops and bounds trying to figure out how we could do this, how we could do that. And it would inconvenience me, inconvenience Matt, inconvenient. You get what I'm saying? It's like the amount of things that I would have to go through to be of support to somebody or do certain things. It's like, okay, but now I'm gonna have to deal with my own life and inconveniencing everybody in my life and jumping through loops and bounds just to make you happy when you ain't even fucking appreciate it in the first place. You acted like it was something I just had to do. I ain't had to do
Yeah.
nothing.
Yep.
So I think motherhood definitely put that stamp on me being more selfish with my time and boundaries, and just the simple fact that, like, this is just what it is, because I need to make sure that mentally I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, I mean, that definitely helps when you really, it's just like, okay, I can put it into perspective having kids. And even for me, it's just like, okay, to show up to shit in a different state, either I have to bring her, which means once I get there, granted, it's never an issue for my parents or anybody to watch her, but it's like, you got to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't have plans. And if they have plans, well, who else is going to do it? If there's nobody there,
Mm-hmm.
it's like at every single turn is signing like a snowball effect. And that's how you know
Yes.
that it's just like some shit is just not meant to be. If I gotta move 1,000 pieces around to make this puzzle work, we should not be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do I really want to have to pay for 3 flights to go to some shit that's for an hour? So a lot of times when I show up to stuff and it's just me, it's because it's just like, we are literally here for this little bit of time. I am not packing my whole family up, buying 3 fucking flights, figuring out who gonna watch the dog, doing all of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
especially now that Harper is in school. No, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not coming because
Yeah.
now I
It's a
gotta take,
lot.
it's not like we could just dip on a Thursday night or dip on a first flight Friday morning. It's like those things
Mm-hmm.
don't happen anymore. So it's like you said, it really puts it in perspective to be like, actually, I can't do this. Don't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just like motherhood for the win. Being like, actually, you should figure some shit out. And when you can't
Mm-hmm.
figure it out, just say no. And I think everybody else around you that are the pieces that have to be moved is beneficial for them too. Because it's like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that annoyance factor of like, okay, we always got to do X, Y, and Z. Now we got to drive across the whole fucking world to make some shit
Mm-hmm.
happen. You really the only person trying to make this shit happen.
Right.
But you
Like,
need
you the
but you
one trying
need
to
all
make
these
such
other
happen.
people. Yeah, it's like, but you need all these other people in order to do it. So then by default, now they have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now everybody's fucking annoyed.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's just, but yeah, I definitely feel like the overextension thing it's it's a fine line because yes, there are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that you're ever get out of a place where you never overextend yourself.
Right. Right.
You know, sometimes it's going to happen, but it really is like you have to put it in perspective. Is this thing or this person that I'm inconveniencing myself or I have to go out of my way to do this? Is it somebody that, one, I know would do the exact same for me? Two, is going to be appreciative of the shit that, I'm having to do to make this shit happen? And sometimes the answer is no. I ain't fucking doing it for you then.
Yeah. And I
And I
honestly
and I'm
feel
cool with
like
that.
at this point in life, we have to do what's best for us. I think for me, the biggest thing would be maybe the delivery of the no. Because at one point I just was saying no, and it maybe might come off like a little cold, like, dang, like what I do to you. And I don't feel like you have to explain yourself to anybody, but the communication of the no. I think sometimes is even like in the past, I've said like no, but like, I'll see if I could do this or see if I could do that. And then I kind of just like, maybe I might disappear a little bit, or maybe I might just be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to do it. But if you say no, stand on the no, and the delivery doesn't have to be so, I don't know. I think
Yeah,
the
it doesn't have to be a
delivery
harsh
matters too.
no. It don't
Yeah.
have to be it don't have
Mhm.
to be hell no. It could just be
Mhm.
like, like I have something else going on this weekend, so I'm not going to be able to
Mhm.
attend. Wish you the best of luck. Like, cool, I support you,
Mhm.
but I can't do it. And that's
Mhm.
another thing. Like, overextension doesn't doesn't necessarily equate to support. I can support you and not be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I think once you kind of master that portion, that like, yeah, you can support somebody and not have to do backflips in order
Mhm.
to that they don't equate, because I think sometimes the overextension is for us.
Mhm.
It's like it's confirmation for us and not necessarily sometimes the other person.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So it's just like once you don't need that gratification, a lot of things just seem to be so much easier.
Mhm. Yeah,
A lot of
I
things
agree.
definitely become so much easier. And yeah, I was one of those people. Once I got over the people pleasing thing, it was just like I sleep fucking well at night because I know exactly the ways in which I show up for my people. I know the ways in which I support them. So I don't feel bad for not being able to come to things. And certain things, just like you just know, I'm not going to be able to come. Even just like our friend group, all the different
Mhm.
birthdays. It's just like some people I'm always there for their birthday. Some people are just
Mhm.
like, I'm never gonna be there for your birthday because of the time of the year that your birthday is. It just don't work.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a lot.
And yeah, and it's just like those true, genuine people, it don't never be a thing.
Mhm. It's like I'll support you and send my love in a different way, and that's okay.
Yeah,
Showing up doesn't
and
always have to be
that's
physical.
yes. It truly don't be but I feel like it'd be exhausting trying to get to that point and master that. Like some people, I feel like just innately have it in them, and I want to know how. Like, where do you like? Did you just wake up that day? Is that like a gene? Was you just like, nah, fuck all that shit? I'm not doing it. I don't care. Don't ask me.
I think it has a little bit to do
Like,
with just
and then
having a little bit of selfishness in you.
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like everybody does, but
Mhm.
like being able to kind of just sit in that and I think realizing that selfishness is not a bad thing.
Mhm. It's not.
like like we're always made to think like, oh, selfishness, or like, oh, this person is selfish, that's a negative trait. And it's like, but selfishness in some areas is like, that's what you should do. You should actually be selfish in this situation.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's the hard part, is determining, yes, this is good, or this is good selfish, or bad selfish. What kind is it?
Mhm.
And it's not all
Yeah.
good, it's not all bad. It's a situation by situation kind of thing. So
Mhm. I agree. Look at us growing and maturing and
I
learning
know,
when to
like
say
such
no.
adults. What the fuck?
Brava. Proud of us. Mm.